this goes on back and forth for a little bit. I'm not letting it go. I'm like a dog with a bone. I keep sending them messages, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is theft. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the free football shirt collection. Today we are going to talk about one deal and one deal only, and as the title and probably the thumbnail suggests, I have been scammed, not just once but twice. One by a company and two by the actual seller themselves. Shocking service, honestly, is horrendous. If it was something more expensive, I would have gone mad. To be fair, I did hurl abuse at a fair few people. You may or may not get to see that. Anyway, before we get into that, if you haven't seen the other 6 episodes, I think, please go check them out. Basically, we started a football shirt collection from nothing. We go out, we buy football shirts, we buy football boots, Astro trainers and things like that, try and sell them on, make a profit, use the profit to buy football shirts. But we don't just walk into stores sometimes and buy shirts off the shelves for like 100 and... I walked into Sports Direct yesterday just to have a little look, because it got big sale posters up now, and I'm thinking, well, end of season they'll be selling off their shirts. So I go in and they are indeed selling off last season's shirts for about £35, which is mad to think that back in like 2008 that's not far off what a shirt would have cost anyway, but I digress. I looked at the players' Liverpool shirt and it's £120. I mean, that's crazy. That is such a lot of money. Mad. Anyway, I don't know where I was with it, but basically we try and source football shirts for the collection cheap. This was under £10. It is a £30 shirt. How do we do that? Well, we primarily use websites like eBay and Vinted, but there are the odd occasion where we go into a charity shop. I've got one coming up soon, actually, where we pick up a pretty nice shirt. I say pretty nice shirt, I don't like it personally, but it's, you know, it's of value in a charity shop. That's coming up in an episode not too far away now. Probably going to start pumping these out a little bit more closer together so we can start to get caught up, because I do have shirts and things everywhere. Things are selling that I haven't even showed you there yet, so we'll get there. Anyway, shall we get into the scam? And this is a problem. I mean, I say it's a scam. It might be considered a scam, but I've been scammed, so there it is, right? So I'm on Vinted, which, by the way, I have never had a problem with. If you don't know what Vinted is, it's basically a place to sell second-hand clothes. Now, they do other things like video games and stuff, and I've picked up a lot of really good video game deals, as you can see, from Vinted. And I do have a series where we do basically the same thing with the shirts, but with video games. Go check that out. That's got many, many more episodes than this one does. And it's, I would say at the moment, a little bit more successful. But Vinted is fantastic, right? So I buy a lot on there. I sell a little bit, but I mainly use it just to buy. And I've never had a problem. Things have turned up now and again that are a little bit like, well, that wasn't really in the picture, but it's not too bad, it's fine. Never had a problem. This time, I had a problem. So if you remember a few episodes ago, I went through Facebook Marketplace to pick up a football top and a pair of Astros. The Astros were these blue Adidas things, and the football top was a Real Madrid shirt from, I think, 2017. Both of them are sold now, but I think the Real Madrid top, I think I sold it to Classic Football Shirts. I'm almost certain I sold it to Classic Football Shirts for like £27, because they always send me an offer. They always like knock off the postage, basically, and I always do it for them. But that went to them. And then the Astros sold for like 25 or something, and it only cost us £7 for the whole thing. So literally 2 days after that, that's how long ago this was. 2 days after that, I found the exact same shirt on Vinted in a large, which was, I think the other one was extra large, this one was large. And here it is. Now, this was £13 all in. That means including postage and fees and everything. So I'm thinking, well, £13, it's not as good as the other deal was. Obviously, the other deal was £7 for the shirt and a pair of Astros. This was £13 for just the shirt, right? But I knew I could get about £30 for it. It was in really good condition. According to the listing, it had never been worn. The listing's on screen for you now. Never been worn. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's going to be fake. It's going to be made in Thailand or something. No, it is a genuine shirt. So how have I been scammed? Well, it arrived. I opened it up. And I do what I normally do. And I put it in front of me. And I thought, that is a little bit on the short side. So that is a large, apparently. Now, you're not really going to get the perspective from where you are. I might try and do a little bit of a close-up of it. I mean, I will, but I don't see the point. But the reason that I have been scammed, ladies and gentlemen, is that is a large boys shirt. So you can see that it's age, what, 13 to 14, I think it is on the tag. I don't know if it's going to focus. It says focus and failed, but hopefully that works. I don't know. Either way, 13 to 14 years it says. Now it's genuine, it is from 2017, it has all the right markings everywhere, it's made in Cambodia, the badge and everything looks good. It is 100% authentic, right? That's not the concern. It's a large boys. Now, I've paid £13 for that. Is that a bad price to pay for a large boys shirt? It's about on the money, to be honest. If I wanted to sell it for a tenner, I think I could probably get it gone for £10. They pay the postage, of course, so that they end up paying £13 in total. But I know you're thinking, well, just send it back. Oh, brilliant suggestion. If only I thought of it. Yeah, I did think of it. Straight away, messaged the seller, and I said, this is a large boys. And they came back with a very, very weird reply. So it says, and it's on screen, and it'll probably look stretched and everything, but it says, I'm on the right, they're on the left. Shirt's arrived, but it wasn't aware it was a large boy shirt. All the listing said was large, and it was in the men's section, which it was. I was searching in the adult men's section, large, and there it was. Oh, when I brought it, I hate when people say that instead of bought it, it was in the men's section at the stadium, which is a little bit confusing to me because this shirt has clearly been worn, 100%. There's a little bit of wear to it, here or there. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. Well, I'll do a little close-up of it. There is a label that's been torn off. You do not tear labels off on the back of the neck if you don't intend to wear them. The reason people tear them off or cut them is because they itch. And that is 100% true because I've done it myself. So, liar. I said, not sure what to say. The neck says 13 to 14 years. Then they said I brought it knowing it was a football shirt just for fun at the stadium, and it said large. I am so sorry for this. I feel terrible, which is also another lie. I don't know what to do. This is the first time that I've started selling on the app. Now, I believe that because they didn't really have much of any feedback. They said, would you still like the top? And I said, I've contacted Vinted to see what can be done about it. Because obviously I don't want it for £13. If I can sell it for the same price and make my money back, well, that's hassle on my part. I don't want to have to do that. So I contacted Vinted. Now this looks like I've just sent them a message saying, buyer sent large boys, not large men's. But they asked me, it's not in text form, it was in an option section. And they said, please state what's wrong. And I said the buyer has sent large boys, not large men's. They gave me a very lengthy reply, which is them trying to sort the issue without actually having to speak to me. So it's like an automated response. So the next screen, again, these are all automated things. So when I didn't just say I still need help, it was a tick box thing, and then the other was like the other problem because it wasn't listed. Then I typed item is the wrong size. Then they came back with, hello, this is an automated response. We have received your message and we will get back to you within 48 hours, which is pretty self-explanatory. They are going to send me a message within 48 hours regarding the situation. We kindly ask you do not reply to this message. I can't reply. I'm not allowed to send another message back, and not to make new inquiries about the same matter. So just leave it alone. 48 hours and they will solve the problem. Okay? So then, I think 3 days, maybe even 4 days had gone past, nothing. I didn't receive a message, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a bit of a bad boy, and I'm going to send a message. Even though they told me not to, it's been more than 48 hours. They told me 48 hours. So I said, I would like this item refunded, and it's not the correct size that was stated in the listing. My only option now is to leave feedback. Basically, this is like a separate chat window. The other chat window was with the seller. And they had received the money, because if you mark the item as received, which you have to do anything, you cannot complain to Vinted about the item until you marked it as received, which makes sense because you can't complain about something you haven't had, right? So that's fine. But as soon as you mark it as received, you have 48 hours to put in your query or concerns to the seller and indeed to Vinted. Otherwise, the seller gets their money. 48 hours had gone at this point. The seller has their money, and now the only option I have is to leave feedback. And then I go on to say, I'm assuming the seller has received the funds, which I knew they had done, but I wanted Vinted to confirm it. This next bit is outrageous, and they do not budge. Thank you for contacting us. We are sorry for the inconvenience. I'm afraid I can no longer suspend the transaction since the payment has been released to your seller already. It goes on basically to say that buyers have 2 days after the item is marked as received or delivered to let us know if anything has gone wrong by clicking the I have an issue button, which is exactly what I did immediately, the first 10 minutes of opening the package. Which you can find in the well, obviously I found it because that's how I managed to send them a message in the first place. Unfortunately, in this case, the button was not clicked on time, which is a lie because I did it immediately. Please, honestly, this is £13, but I am seething. I am so pissed. Please, always make sure to inspect the item you received as soon as you get it. I did. You can even see the I mean, obviously you're not going to see it to the day, but when I showed you the messages from me talking to the seller, it literally says 3 weeks ago. This did happen a little while ago. And then when you look at the Vinted messages, it says 3 weeks ago. The messages you just saw were 2 weeks because obviously it passed over, but my point still stands. Anyway, I then went back with, I contacted you immediately after receiving the item. I was told to wait 48 hours for a response, which I did. It's there in black and white. Now you're telling me there's nothing you can do. Their response was, thank you for your swift reply, which I sniggered, unlike you. I would like to empathise that I fully understand, which doesn't make any sense as far as I'm aware. English isn't my first language, so bear with me, but that doesn't sound like it makes sense. Your dissatisfaction. But I do ask that you understand that my hands are tied to a well-definite procedure. What? Therefore, we are unable to intervene any longer since the funds already left our system. On my behalf, if I had the opportunity to help you deal with this situation differently, I would never have hesitated to do so. Thank you for your understanding. I wish I could have done more to help you. That's it. I mean, there are more messages, and I will show you them, but that's it. As far as they're concerned, the seller's got their money now. Out of sight, out of mind. I contacted them immediately. They told me to wait 48 hours. 48 hours goes by, bang, nothing I can do. That's such a flawed system. Anyway, we'll talk about my rebuttals and things in a second. This goes on back and forth for a little bit. I'm not letting it go. I'm like a dog with a bone. I keep sending them messages, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is theft. You can't do that, you know? And then this is basically the message I kept getting back then. This was the automated, every time I sent something, they'd just send this back. They'd stop being like a personal response. It was just an automated. I am sorry to hear that you're not satisfied with our proposed decision. Please note that we are obligated to follow our process in such a situation, and as mentioned previously, are not able to offer you a refund. You will have to reach out to the seller. The seller doesn't want to know. Why would they? They have their money. They know they're fine. Why would they care? Exactly. Unfortunately, this has to be our final decision. If you have any questions or concerns regarding a different matter, please open a new inquiry and we'll help you out. Except they won't, because they're useless. So, like I said, I sent loads of messages back and I was like, come on now, stop giving me automated responses and talk to me. Can you see how messed up this is? Nothing. Just automated. Like I said, some messages went back and forth, but all I was getting was that automated response. So in the end, I just had to give up, called them pathetic, and I left it alone. They actually asked me to leave feedback, which was interesting. They got some. It wasn't very good, but there we are. Do I think the seller sold me this top intentionally, knowing that the Vinted system was flawed? No. Do I think they knew it was a large boys? Yes, I do, because it had been worn. It's clearly been worn. Otherwise, why would you cut the tag off on the inside? And it does have like the odd little mark. I've got them out since, but you know, it's clearly been worn. So unless some large bloke has been walking around in a kid's shirt, it's been worn by a child and she knew this. Maybe she sold it in the men's section accidentally and didn't want to admit that she made that mistake, which was perfectly understandable in a way. But there it is. Vinted system is flawed, and you have to be aware that if you are the buyer, that the seller is always going to be in the right. It's the complete opposite of eBay. So if you've ever sold anything on eBay, you know that until they leave you feedback, there is always a chance that your item is going to come back, or they're going to try and get a refund off you and keep the item, and sometimes that happens. On Vinted, it's the other way around. If you're selling, you can sit back and relax knowing that you, as soon as the item is sent, you've got your money. You are guaranteed to have your money. I mean, it just opens up a whole can of worms for scams and all the rest of it, and I see an awful lot of people selling items that they clearly don't own. But, you know, UK sellers selling a collection of Switch games that are all NTSC. There is no way. You know, it's a picture they've taken from someone else that they are trying to sell to then probably try and scam the buyer. And it happens a lot. Every time I flick through, I see these listings. So just be aware that if you are buying, you need to double check everything before you actually purchase. That's going to do it for today, though. In the next episode, I will lay out the shirt collection so far, and we'll go through. We'll just have a little overview to see where we are with it. We'll have some more pickups, and I think the next episode is going to be. There's going to be a pickup in there that's a bit of a grail for us on this series and for this collection. I'm going to add the most expensive shirt that we own so far. It is on the shelf behind me. You can see it's been there for ages. But in the next episode, I think I may very well reveal it. I am probably going to look to pick up some new shirts soon as well. Do want the new Liverpool top. So we're going to have to try and build a bit of a balance in order to be able to go out and buy that. But that'll be for future episodes. If you've enjoyed this and maybe you've got your own experience to tell, please drop it in the comments. It'd be interesting to read through it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, of course. And until the next time, goodbye.